Bandesh from Chess Gaja. In today's video, we continue with our coverage of the 44th Chess Olympiad and the players with some of their best tactics. Today, we continue with the Uzbekistan team who ultimately won the gold medal. The last video was about Abdusatro Nodirbek, whereas today's video is about Yakubboev Nodirbek, the second Uzbek player of the team. So let's dive straight into it and look at the top three tactics employed by the young grandmaster. As you can see, this is Yakubboev Nodirbek versus Vidit Santosh Gujarati of India 1. This is round 6 of the 44th Chess Olympiad, where Uzbekistan played against India 1, obviously. Um, this is board 3, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, so as you can see, the 23 moves have already been played. And the last move that Vidit played was rook 2 to d3. And here, as you can see, both are equal on material. Both the kings have been castled. Both the king sides are fairly defended. The only thing that separates the two positionally is these two doubled pawns of Vidit on the c file, whereas Nodirbek's pawn structure is perfectly all right. However, Nodirbek does have this rook battery on it, and the queen can soon come in, and the triple battery would just be, very much troublesome when breakthroughs happen on these three files. So yeah, that's just a summary of the game that has been played so far and the position right now. Now, as if you guys see the game earlier, both players are like just exchanging pieces left and right, hinting that they are not looking for much more than a draw, or that they don't want to give the opponent a winning chance, even if it means that they don't get a winning chance. So they are not taking any risks. They are not pushing for anything here. They are not pushing for a win. Um, so yeah, both of them are just exchanging pieces, either playing very safely or either just they made peace with the fact that they are drawing the game. They have come with that predetermination in mind. So after rook 2 to d3, uh, Nodirak plays queen to e6, and with it pushes his doubled pawns. This is sort of a pawn sacrifice, but not really. And Nodirak knows this, that capturing this pawn does not mean that you are uh, you are gaining a pawn, but it will recover the pawn eventually, and you can do nothing about it. You can just let this pawn hang because you think that it's getting attacked once, it's getting attacked twice, it's getting attacked thrice. However, it's also getting protected thrice, one, two, and three. But one thing that you guys might not have looked at is that the bishop also is on the same diagonal and it is also attacking the pawn. So it is four attackers versus three defenders, which will lose you the pawn. And there is no real way to protect this pawn further. Knight to f5 is not an option because the pawn captures it. Um, yeah, knight cannot go here because of the rook. So yeah, you're basically losing that pawn if you don't capture it. And Nodirbek is more than happy to capture it. He by capturing that pawn, Nodirbek, you don't necessarily have to capture it. In fact, if you just keep if c takes on d6, you just play rook to d7, then you bring in your other rook, and if queen comes here, you can simply bring sorry for that, you can simply bring your knight here and the pawn will fall. Okay, it does not have indefinite lives to rely on. But Nodirbek decides against it. He's like, okay, no, I just want to get done with this game, and he initiates a series of exchanges that will is just mind blowing. So D captures on c5, doubling his own pawns, and he will lose this pawn eventually. But wait, there is a series of exchanges before that. Rook captures on d8, rook captures on d8, rook captures on d8, knight captures on d8. Bishop captures on c5, recovering the pawn that Vidit earlier lost, and Nodirbek obviously saw this. He's like, fine, it's fine by me. B6, bishop to a3, and yes, the game continues. If I play a few more moves, let me just show you. Um, Queen to d2, queen to d7, offering a queen trade. With it, it's like, okay, I will not do the capturing. If you want to take, you can still take my queen, but I would be the one taking your queen and initiating the exchange. And Nodirbek is more than happy to accept. Queen captures on d6, bishop captures on d6. As you can see, they both exchange pretty much the entire board. Uh, Although Nodirbek is much stronger here positionally with his with two very solid pawn islands against one good pawn island on king side for Vidit and two pawn islands on the queen side. However, they both know that they're playing for a draw, and a few moves down the lane, they do agree to a draw. Not a few moves, actually, quite a, quite a few. This is move 32. They agree to a draw on move 60. But yes, so this is the series of exchanges that Nodirbek planned, and he was very more than happy to get a draw against someone of the metal of Gujarati. As I told you, he did not need to capture here. He could have just he did not need to do anything about it. You know, yeah, he could have played. He could have made a buffer move, something like this, to see if he goes for that or not. If this captures, you just play this, and there's no real way to defend this pawn anymore. The rook is coming here, the knight is coming here. It doesn't matter if you put your queen here. You put a queen here, the rook is coming back. If you add one more defender, the knight is also coming. So he did not have to take it necessarily, but he did take it, and for good reason. He wanted to draw the game, and he did end up drawing the game. That's one thing. The second tactic is from round 10, where Yakubboev Nodirbek played Sarin Nihal of India 2. Sorry, India 3. And it's an interesting game. It's obviously this also ends in a draw, as you can already see from the markers beyond besides the name of the players. But okay, this also ends in a draw. However, here Nodirbek is playing white. The last move he makes is bishop to f5, to which so yeah, as you can see, this bishop is being attacked, but it's being protected by the knight. So it's an exchange at best. If the previous game I showed was an indication, Nodirbek loves exchanges and pushing games for draws rather than wins. But yeah, so he offers a bishop exchange here, but Nihal Sarin is like, okay, let me try something. So he pushes the g pawn, and here you would think that after the knight goes back or something like that, this bishop is hanging and it will be captured, and you just blundered away a free pawn, a free piece. I'm sorry, but it's not that. The brilliant move that Nodirbek had planned for this is knight to g6. Now again, if you capture, which was played in the game, this bishop hangs and you can take it. It's an exchange. If the bishop captures, let me just show you. If the bishop captures here, um, knight captures on e7. This is the move that he found. The king cannot capture it as the rook protects it. And if you're not careful with it, okay, this bishop is surely hanging. But even after you move the bishop somewhere, there can be all sorts of nasty discoveries that are opened up by the knight and the rook that's on the same file as the opponent's king. So yes, this is basically the move that he found. So yeah, after knight to g6, f captures on g6 and bishop captures on e6. As I told you, it's an exchange. So while it might look a little bleak here, the situation, uh, that two of your pieces are attacked, one piece protects the other piece. If it moves, you lose the piece. It's a mess, but not apparently not. Nodirbek finds this brilliant move, and yes, the exchanges were made ultimately. And you see, Nihal Sarin had to move his king away to f8 to get it away from this open file where the opponent's where Nodirbek's rook is beautifully placed. So yeah, that was the move that he found, and yeah, so you just have to look out for such cheeky moves where you think that you're sacrificing, but you're not really sacrificing. You are in a much better position. You have a good command over the position. It just shows that. Finally, we move to the third tactic that Nodirbek employed in his 44th Chess Olympiad run. This is Yakubboev Nodirbek playing the black moves against Jordan van Forest of Netherlands, playing the white pieces. It's the 11th and the final round of the game. As you can see, Jordan played the last move. The last move that Jordan played was Bishop to C1, and you'd notice that both the players are equal on material over here. After 17 moves, both the kings have castled on opposite sides of the board. However, Northerbek's king does look more exposed than the white king, but it's not actually true. These pawns are doing a good job of protecting it. And now you can see that after the bishop moved away from the square, the queen has opened an attack on the undefended backward pawn that's on e6. So obviously you have to protect that. Queen to f6, um, protecting the pawn on e6, but also opening this battery, also forming this battery on the f file. Um, so yeah, Nodirbek here has planned some great sacrifices and great exchanges. You'll be amazed by it. Let me show you. Rook to e. rook to e1, obviously doubling down on the e file and threatening to capture this pawn. But here, Nodirbek is like, okay, you want to capture that pawn, go ahead, but I have a few more hindrances in your plan before you finally do capture that pawn. If you do capture that pawn, that is. So rook captures on f3, queen captures on f3. This was an exchange sacrifice that Nodirbek makes, but he'll soon recover the material very quickly uh, because of the brilliant prudence that he has. Queen captures on f3, g captures on f3. So first thing you have done is you already weakened the opponent's pawn structure. It was brilliant pawn chain here. After the pawn push on g3, the chain would have been amazing. But now you have two pawn islands and one double pawns on the f file. Yeah, it's not too great if it goes in the rook end game or just a king end game, king and pawns end game basically. Yes, so here another back starts regaining material. Sorry, knight captures on d4. Obviously, you can if you're thinking about taking it with the rook, the bishop protects it beautifully. The bishop is on the long diagonal, so you always have to look out for that. Uh, sorry. Yes, so knight captures on d4. Um, Jordan pushes the other knight on c4 away by playing b3. Knight to e5 again. See, knight to e5 cuts the bishop off from the knight, and now the rook can capture it easily. Right? You're just giving up a piece, but again, not really. So the rook does capture. Rook captures on d4, but here knight captures on f3. Not just taking a pawn, so regaining some of the material lost, but also forking the knights of of the black piece of the opponent. Also, you'll notice that this rook is attacked twice. So rook back to d1. Obviously, that's the best thing you can do. Knight catches on e1. Um, and here you can again go for rook captures on e1, but then your knight is hanging here. So it will be an exchange, and it will not be. You just lost a rook for free, basically. So and knight goes to b5. Again, so the idea that uh, Jordan Van Forest has is that okay, you move your knight away, that's fine, but I'll capture at least one pawn of yours, and then you'll have to shuffle your rook around, and I'll get this pawn also. So I'll get two pawns for the rook, and it's not a bad bargain. But Nolifek doesn't allow that. He's like, okay, no way you are getting two pawns, not even one pawn. I just want to exchange stuff, and I'm good. I'm positionally up right now. I have more pieces and more points than you, materially up right now. So he pushes the c pawn, c6, and finally Forest goes for it. He's like, okay, fine, you win. You played me there, and yeah, so he accepts the exchange. Makes his makes peace with the fact that he lost that rook. That brilliant sacrifice was not in vain after all. So rook captures on e1 and c captures on b5. Although he does get a pawn like rook captures on e6, but it doesn't matter. He won't be getting any more pawns anytime soon. So yeah, that's just the brilliant idea behind forming the battery over here and sacrificing this exchange. What a sacrifice! So yes, that was the video for today. Yakubboev Nodirbek, obviously world class player. His rating is he is rated more than 2600 in the live ratings, and he played a brilliant game actually. Um, throughout the run of the tournament, he played all 11 games for Team Uzbekistan, and he did not lose a single game. He won 5 games and he drew 6 games. As I showed you, the 3 games that I showed you today, all of the 3 games were drawn by him. So he certainly seems to like draws more than victories, but there's nothing wrong with that. He ultimately did help his team in winning the Olympiad, right? So let's not forget that. So yes, that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys understood the tactics. And yeah, that's all from my side for today. Thank you very much for watching.